We are live. Hello, guys. This is Chris Elston here. I have a very special guest tonight. As you all know, I want to do more horror-related things because I myself am making a horror movie, and I want to, interview more horror creators and directors out there. And the gentleman we have with us tonight has a very cool movie coming out, and I'm going to let him take it from there. Doug Roos, does that say that right?
Yes, yeah, you did.
All right,
Thank you
all
so
right, got
much.
that one right. All right, so before we jump into your movie, let's tell us a little bit about who you are and why you make movies.
Well, I always loved movies, especially monster movies. Like I saw Aliens when I was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old, and I just loved it. It didn't scare me. I just loved it to death, and I had dreams with aliens, and so I've always kind of been like a horror fan. And like in third grade, I told my teacher I wanted to be a film director. So it's just something I've always wanted to do.
That's awesome, man. Heck yeah. So you have made a few films. Your most recent one, help me again.
Oh yeah, it's called Bakemono.
Bakemono is he just finished that one, and he is making some noise in the industry with this. He's gotten the likes of Rue Morgue, bloodydisgusting.com, and a lot of others to actually showcase this movie on their social media pages and everything. So before we jump into the movie, tell me, how does that feel from being a guy who watched all that stuff, reading the magazines, and now you're that guy in the spotlight?
I mean, it feels great. I don't think I'm that much in the spotlight, but yeah, it's crazy. It's a dream come true, and I don't know. I mean, it's so nice when people like it and say nice things.
Oh, heck yeah, man. I mean, like I said, you've done, as far as the crowdfunding goes, you exceeded your funding. I mean, and people are talking about this thing. Again, like I found you because you was on my Instagram page, and I said this looks really cool. And that always matters. At the end of the day, no matter how much promotion you do, it's got to be a good product. And your trailer was very striking to me, and it reminded me of Do you remember this old Japanese movie from the 80s called? It had two names. One was Entrails of Aversion, and another one is called Guts of Aversion.
Yeah.
It reminded me of that, and I was okay. This guy, he got something here. Obviously, like the Thing, Wicked City, those were like, I could see that homage there. But no, that one particular movie kind of really made me think about, that.
Well, thanks a lot. I mean, that same director, he did a movie called Gazoo, and I love that movie. That's kind of like the Japanese The Thing from. It was made in 1986. It's only like 40 minutes long, but it's a cool little. It's got some cool practical effects and a great monster.
Awesome. Heck yeah, man. Like I love the Japanese stuff, especially from the 80s. Like a lot of people forget, like they made some really interesting films back then,
Yeah, man.
I mean, I think when Takashi Miike, actually when Ringu came out and Grudge and Takashi Miike got on the spotlight, that's when Japan really got front and center as far as the live action, because they've always been known for like the anime and manga stuff, like the kaiju stuff and all that. But yeah, there really was some cool, like obscure 80s horror, like Evil Dead Trap, all that stuff was just wild.
Oh yeah, I love those. They're so great.
But so this movie is you want to tell us a little bit about exactly what it is, and we'll talk about the other films too. But since this is the newest one out, you want to tell us a little bit about what this thing is?
Yeah, it revolves around an Airbnb, and different guests are staying at it at different times, and the story is actually told out of order. So it's kind of like following Memento and Pulp Fiction, and basically there's this gruesome monster there that it messes with them psychologically, and also, of course, physically attacks them.
Nice. So kind of like a Lovecraftian type vibe then, as far as like the creature psychologically messing with it, materializing physically.
Yeah, like one reviewer said it was like Tsukamoto meets Lovecraft. So
Tsukamoto, Tetsuya Army. Cool. Okay, so actually, do you want to play the trailer real quick to kind of show people?
Oh yeah, sure.
I got it right here.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I got pulled up for it. Let me see. Let me add this. Okay. Let me let's see right here. This one. Okay. Really cool.
Thanks.
That is awesome, dude.
Thanks so much. Yeah, the movie is really about, it's actually really about the dark side of Tokyo, like the kind of ugly underbelly that you never really hear so much about. So
yeah, and the music, it had like a very bleak music, like soundtrack to it and stuff. I thought that was really cool.
Oh, thanks.
But beautifully shot. So who was your cinematographer on it?
Yeah, me. I pretty much.
Hey, you did that. So you did that too. Oh man, hell yeah, that's awesome, dude. So you wait a minute, I'm cutting you off. So let's see. You wrote it, you directed it, you did the practical effects, and you did the cinematography on this thing.
Yeah, and editing and music and producing and sound effects and yeah, like everything.
Dude, that is, I mean, that my hat goes off to you. Like, I wore a few hats myself, but not that many hats. Like, but I mean, it looked like you had a whole team behind you. So that looks really, really good, man.
Thanks so much.
Wow. So I mean, hopefully people that will get people to want to see this thing. But I think I saw the other trailer, the older one. That one right there showed a lot more of the creature, and that was really cool.
Cool. Thanks.
So on that note, since you did do the effects in it, how was it doing practical effects on a very small budget, knowing what you know what goes into making practical effects?
Yeah, I mean it's very, very difficult, especially like it takes so much time just to do them and do them right. And often with practical effects, even on like bigger budget movies, they'll go wrong. Like a Videodrome with Rick Baker. Like the first time they tried to have the guts exploding out of the TV, it didn't work. Like you always have problems like this. And then I have no money and I'm doing everything myself. So yeah, especially the monster, like you have to do like constant touch-ups to make sure that it still looks good.
Oh yeah, and latex get dry and starts to fall apart, and you got to hatch it up. And
yeah, latex, because I had some latex gloves, and then for the faces, I used a gelatin because it looks. Yeah, I feel like it looks more realistic and close up. Like Dick Smith often used gelatin, and but yeah, it's really challenging. I mean, you know a lot about it. Like the effects that you did in your short were really cool, man. I love the stop motion and everything. It reminded me of like Brain Damage.
Oh yeah, Break Helen Ladder. Again, like same thing. Like just pulling like scraps and stuff together. But for me, I'm pretty sure for you too, effects it's all logistics, right? You just once you understand, okay, I want this to happen. How do I make this happen? And kind of going from there. It's not too hard. It's just again a lot of trial and error, and usually the simpler stuff works better than trying to overcomplicate it. I realize that. Like there's some effects that like it was nothing to do. Like it was simple. If you broke it down, you think it was all this extra. Like no, it was just some string and some lighting, type thing.
Yeah, I mean, like they were saying the same thing about Videodrome because there's the part where the guy gets caught. He gets shot with a cancer gun. And you see it like growing out of this guy.
Yeah, it was at the end of it, right? When his face was all. Yeah, I remember that part.
Yeah, near the end of it, and you think it's maybe like animatronics or something, but actually it's just like people on the floor, like puppeteers, and so many things are just actually kind of simple. It doesn't really matter how you do it as long as it looks good on screen. So like doing the most simple thing is, I think, smart.
Exactly, and see for you, since you were the cinematographer too, you knew. That helps out when you understand the lighting and how to frame it and all that. It makes it's easy to pull off the effect because you know how much you need and how much you don't need. All right, just so if I move the camera just over a little too much, I'll start seeing the seam and stuff. I just need like a quick second of this that I can cut with this to create this. So that's what I'm saying. You totally get it, and that's what it is. Again, logistics. It's smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, I mean, no, you're exactly right, and I think that's probably why I wouldn't do effects for somebody else's films because it matters so much like how you film it. Like, is it a good effect? But you also have to film it right. Otherwise it'll look bad or,
right.
Good.
And, then you got to think, like, if you're doing effects for somebody else and they don't understand effects, that could be an issue because you're telling what they may want something that's not going to happen. And you have an alternative idea that would be just as good, but they don't see it that way because they don't understand what goes into making it. So yeah, I'm with you. I would have a hard time wanting to do effects for somebody else who doesn't understand effects anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I think even like John Carpenter, I think he gave Rob Bottin a lot of control when doing the effect sequences in that movie. So
yeah, I mean that, and again, to this day, dude, that thing is 40 years old, still holds up.
Yeah, I think nothing's topped it, really. Nothing.
Nah, I mean for me, as far as effects goes, is the thing. The Queen Alien from Aliens, the way that thing is this. I mean, it's awesome looking to this day. Like, I think I know how they cut it, how they did it, but it doesn't look, it doesn't look cheap at all. It doesn't look dated at all. I mean, I think that holds up better than the CG ones they use later on in the versus movies and crap.
Yeah, definitely. I really hate like the CG, and I really. Yeah, I mean, Stan Winston's a genius, and the way they did the Queen was like so complicated, and they had like a puppet, and then they had like 5 guys in this weird, complicated rig. Like, it's insane.
Right, yeah.
And it's sad. Like, Cameron said that if he did it today, he would do CG, and it's like, no, man. Like, the practical effects, like it's still perfect. It still holds up flawlessly,
And something else about the practical effects, especially with the Queen Alien, like you said, there's a bit of being claustrophobic, right? Because you got to be up close to a certain point before you start seeing. You pull back too much, you start seeing the rise and all that stuff. So it kind of makes it feel more real versus the CG, where you can do all these wide shots and all these crazy angles you could never see in real life. And I think that's the disconnect with it.
Yeah, and like they'll do these weird takes of it, like running behind somebody in Avers P, and it's like, it's too much. Yeah, it's kind of like. They think they have complete freedom, but actually there's still restrictions with CG because the more CG shots you have, the quality declines. Like the first Jurassic Park, it was good because it was so limited. They didn't have that CG. And they had amazing practical in the first Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like, I will always argue the practical effects, even 100 years from now, will still look better than any CG. I mean, even like you take the Endgame, the Avengers Endgame, that's starting to look rough, man. I went back and watched that in battle sequence. Like, I mean, it's very CG. I mean, I get it. I mean, that'd been very difficult to do, like actual all practical. But you know what I'm saying? Like some of stuff, it just doesn't hold up. That's why I would never want to make a film that's a very gigantic epic where I had to rely heavily on CG because I just don't think I could get the look I wanted out of it.
I always want to do practical effects. I mean, I understand like why they did CG on that, and I think the CG was okay. And on those superhero movies, you kind of need CG. But for me, I always want to do practical effects because I love practical effects, and that's what I grew up on.
Heck yeah, same here, man. Especially I think the first Terminator really what got me excited about practical effects. Especially when I went back and watched it, like the making of it now, how they did have that stuff, like this guy, James Cameron's a genius. The way he went about the effects. Like, this was really smart.
Yeah, him and Stan Winston, Cameron has an effects background. He understands so much. It's incredible what they did. And I love the first Terminator. I mean, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, that one. I like Terminator 2. That's cool its own merit, but there's something about that first one hit differently. Like it had that, it really had that cyberpunk feel to it. And the music and just how it was dated, but it was very futuristic. If that makes sense. I kind of like that. Like, I just think like that's the thing that's always been missing with all the sequels. They always try to go bigger with Terminator. No, that doesn't really work for Terminator. But it is what it is.
I wish they would go back to the R-rated, like gritty dystopian war. Like, they should really just make it like practical and just dirty But
I think they will. I mean, at some point, I mean, because that's one of the franchises. I don't think they're ever going to let it die. Like, they're always going to try to bring it back in some capacity. It's just going to take the right director and right producer to say, look, guys, this is what we got to do. So I think it'll happen. Because, like, again, like retro is coming back. Like, we're seeing a lot more practical stuff now across the board. Last thing about the practical effects I wanted to ask you about. So how long did that really? How long did that take to do in the grand scheme actually of shooting the film? Was that what took the longest? Was doing the practical effects?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the practical effects took a long time, but really, because I shot for over 80 days, and yeah, probably a lot of those days are going to be practical effects, and some of those days are like just me by myself doing effects, but
right.
But I had all these different groups of actors, and I would shoot like 14 days with one group and then 12 days with another group. And I would shoot all the days. But I told them, like, I think it's important to tell your actors, if you're going to do like an effects heavy movie, like it's going to take a lot of time because you have to do it right and you can't rush that stuff. And
Correct.
like just getting someone in the monster costume takes, 30 minutes, an hour. It could take a lot longer.
Yeah. When we finish this, I got to tell you a story about my experience with that. But that the suits and stuff, man. And again, you just don't know. I mean, you can test stuff out, but on the day of shoot, you just don't know. Things can go wrong. So
yeah, they often do. I mean, even on the big budget, even with the masters, even with Botine, sometimes things went wrong on the thing and they like blew up in their face.
Did you watch the RoboCop documentary?
Yeah, of course. I love
that. That was amazing. But I learned a lot. That was a special effects nightmare. The shit they were going through.
With that and it seemed like Rob Botine really got a kind of bad deal. Like it sounds like Paul Verhoeven was pretty harsh. They fought.
Yeah, he seemed like a very challenging director.
I love his movies, man. I freaking love RoboCop and Total Recall and Starship Troopers. To me, those are like three perfect movies.
But again, he doesn't understand effects. He knows what he wants. He just wants it. Dude, it doesn't work that way. I mean, he just, it's one of those things. But I think they were cool after all that. Now.
Yeah.
But so there's that. Let's see. All right. So going back to your features. So I remember you saying earlier off camera that this is technically your third feature. All right. Do you want to tell people about the first two and kind of what paved the way to this film now?
Yeah. Well, I made like 22 short films, and then my first feature was The Sky Has Fallen. I shot that in Missouri. I actually shot that back in 2006, which is like almost 18 years ago. It's insane.
It don't seem like it, man. Wow.
And then it won some awards. Like it won Best Practical Effects. I actually I learned how to do effects on that movie. I had some effects artists, but like one guy could only work one day. One guy, like he did some stuff in pre-production and then he did like one day of shooting and then he kind of quit. So I ended up learning how to do effects myself on that. And I did so many shots myself.
Ooh.
And then my second feature, I shot in Shanghai, China. Mm-hmm. And because I lived there for 7 years, and that's it's called Rearranged. It's a sci-fi film with a touch of horror. So
nice. And so that's the one that hasn't been released yet, right?
Yeah, I haven't released that one yet. I'm gonna put it out there, but not yet. I mean, it's a smaller film than Bakemono. So, and I like Bakemono, I shot it on a Red camera, which is like a Hollywood camera.
Oh yeah.
But Rearranged, I use like DSLRs. Mm-hmm. So. But I'm still really happy with the movie. I like the movie, but I act in the movie. And anyway,
hey, like what I said, you gotta do what you gotta do. I mean, look, Tarantino did it. Everybody done it. Yeah. Let me see what I think about. So you got those three, and you say you did 22 short films leading up to those movies. So like for a lot of people who may watch this and are aspiring filmmakers who want to make a film, that's a good. I mean, doing short films is a good way to get your feet wet, right, and kind of start to learn things,
Yeah, I think it's a good way to learn and get experience. And like I did some before I did a bunch before my first feature, and then I did some after. And when I first came to Tokyo, I made one here. And so, yeah, I mean, features are so, they're so different from a short. Like if you make a great short, it doesn't necessarily mean you can make a great feature and vice versa. Like it's like running a marathon for years versus like going for a walk, No,
I agree. Cause like with a short, like there's two things with a short. A short can either showcase something you want to do, right? Or it's like a joke. It sets up punchlines. So it could be just one little thing. and that's it. Whereas a movie, you got usually three acts. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a beginning, middle, end. You got to have all the stuff that happens created. And it's just more. It's more in depth than the short is. Like some it might not work. You shoot all the stuff, you put it together. Oh hell, I don't got a film. I just got a bunch of scenes. What I'm saying? That's kind of the thing. So. Yeah, it is a different beast, and it takes it's a hell of a lot longer to do. We do a feature film, but doing the shorts
costs a lot more.
It does. It definitely costs. It's one of those things. Depending on what you can do. Like in your example, you probably saved a lot of money because you did a lot of the heavier jobs, like the DP and the lighting and the editing, and the effects, especially effects. We know how expensive that can get.
Yeah.
So that helps out a lot, But the short film thing, I've done a few myself, over the years, but for me, I worked on a lot of sets. Like I worked on a lot of independent films, so I learned a lot of my knowledge came from working on other people's stuff. Being the PA and all that stuff.
I did that too sometimes. Like I was a boom on some web series or something.
I did it once. Yeah, I did that once. Yeah, but that's how you learn, though, right? Because you learn. Because I think it's like when you do that stuff. You have an understanding, okay, when I get ready to direct my thing, I know how to speak to the cast and crew. I know the language now. That's the big thing about it. It helps you run a set better because you know how what's going to, you understand everybody's job, right? So
yeah,
I think that's an important thing.
Yeah, like the way I make movies, I'm kind of like the whole crew, but that saves me so much money. Like I can make films so cheap, and then. Yeah, because like effects and I know effects like that. I think that gives you such a leg up. Like that's such a big advantage.
It does. No, because like some of that stuff, in concept. All right, so like let's say the movie you made now. If you hadn't made anything, you just had the script and you said, let's say you showed it to a producer or something. They would say, "There's no way in hell you can make this movie with low budget." Because soon as they see monster effects, their brain is going all these places, right? All this money. But like no, I can do that. But it's one of those things you got to show. You just got to show them. Like you can sit there all day and try to explain it to them, but they're not going to take you seriously. But when you show them, oh, okay, he knows what he's doing.
yeah, it's true. I mean, well, because really, so much of like the film industry, like there's so many people who just talk, but they never actually do anything. So the only way, you've got to actually do it and show. Yeah, I can do this, and I can do it well, and
Yeah, that's what I do. I was just so impressed with that. I mean, I just saw a trailer. And I see a lot of trailers all the time, but that one, I guess I'm a little biased. I like that kind of stuff, but I said, this guy really, this is different. So it was something different about the way you put it all together, and the monster and just the tones that are, this could be something right here. And that's why, I was trying to follow it on the way, but let's see, that takes us to the next question, which is working in Japan. You said so you're from America. You worked. You said you was in China for a few years. Then now you're in Japan. How was that? Like, are you fluent in Japanese?
No, I know a lot of Japanese, but I wouldn't say I'm fluent. Like Japanese is very difficult. I know a lot of Chinese too.
Cool.
But yeah, Japanese, there are so many rules and it gets so complicated. So
right. So I guess with that, like your cast of Japanese, so was that hard to direct people? Was there like a language barrier or miscommunication or some things, or was it kind of easy to do?
It really actually, it wasn't that hard because pretty much in every group there was someone who could speak English and translate, and there might have been like a Japanese actor who couldn't speak English, but then the other Japanese actor could, and they would translate. So yeah, it wasn't that hard. Cool. I mean, I was lucky, and I can speak some, like Muikai, which means do it again.
I would imagine you say that one a lot.
Yeah, onegaishimasu. Yeah, please.
So with that, I know how the casting works over here. How was that like when you actually, all right, I got this idea, and again, this from what I've seen and what I've read about it, there's a lot going on as far as mature, like there's violence and gore and stuff, nudity. How did you approach the actors and culture over there with a story, with a movie like this? Like, were they receptive of it, or were they kind of hesitant?
Everybody, like I put up a casting call, and first of all, I had like this Tokyo Actors meetup group
Uh-huh.
And I found some actors through that. I started that group, and then I also there's a website over here called Cinema Planners, and like everybody here uses that website. It's great. It's free. It's in Japanese, so you have to post in Japanese. But that's where I found a lot of actors, and
Hmm.
yeah, people were receptive, especially because like this is my third feature, and my first feature won like 3 Best Feature awards and Best Practical Effects, and it was nominated for Best Score and Best
Right.
Cinematography.
That helps.
Yeah, it helps a lot, and I have a lot of producer credits, and so I think people, for some reason, they were crazy enough to trust me.
Well, that's good. I mean, hey, like I said, I mean, and that's another thing when you're making films. That's why it's important to kind of do short films and other small stuff. So at least you have something to show people. You're not just somebody talking about I want to make a movie. Even if it's something like kind of low budget amateurish, it gives them something to kind of assess you on, right? You know, okay, I see where he's going with this. If he had a little more money, better cast, he could do this. So I'm trusting him with this. It's a trust thing, right? More than anything else, it seems like.
Yeah, yeah, it's weird. Like because when I think back, I'm like, why did all these people like agree to be in this movie? You know, like there's over 40 actors. There's not that many characters, but there's over 40 actors, and yeah, I mean, and I got really lucky finding some of them, and yeah, I don't know, it's crazy.
That's cool though, man. I mean, that's awesome though, because you know, again, like it remind me of the Rob Jabaz, the guy who did
Yeah,
the
I love that movie, The
Sadness. Yeah,
Sadness.
yeah, that's a brutal movie, dude. Brutal movie.
Yeah,
But
that's a great movie
it's
from
very well
Taiwan.
done. Yeah, yeah. I mean, what got me was the quality of the thing. Like, and this was his first movie. Like, he's never made a movie before, and that thing looked polished as hell. You know, I was very impressed
Yeah.
with it.
I mean, he did some shorts, and they
Right.
actually had a budget, so like
Yeah, it
it
helps.
wasn't him like I'm just doing everything by myself, my own money, but I mean, still, The Sadness, yeah, I loved it. It's amazing, and what they did is incredible, you know. So
Yeah, it's just, whew, I mean, because it's loosely kind of, no, he said it, he kind of based off the graphic novel, The Cross.
Crossed,
Yeah, which I read that, you know, and that
yeah,
was
I loved it.
as bad as The Sadness was, it still was not as brutal as that comic. I don't think you can actually adapt that comic book 100% to screen. I think it's impossible. I think it'd be almost unwatchable for some people.
Oh,
And
I
that's
would
like,
love them to do it though.
yeah, I mean, we're talking about Serbian film level with that,
Yeah, yeah.
but no, that's great. But the thing is, like, no, he did like you did, you know what I'm saying? And I guess also budget was it so all right, let's say like you shot that same movie in America. All right.
Hmm.
Would the budget have been more or less? Did the shoot in Japan, did that save you any money, or was it with how did that work out for you?
Hmm. Yeah, if I shot it in America, maybe it could be a little cheaper, but really like the main money saving thing is it's honestly it's me because
Right.
I do like everything myself. So that's what saves me the money. Now, okay, I did have to ship some like practical effects supplies. I had to ship those to Japan, so the shipping cost is a lot more because
Oh,
like a
I
lot
know
of
that,
these
yeah.
materials, it's easy to get them in the US, but it's like you can't get them in Japan or it's very
Really? Oh
difficult.
wow. Okay. That's something new.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and I had to like what I had to do is I had to make the gelatin mask. I had to do that in America because of the chemicals when you make the mold and all this type of stuff. I had
Mhm.
to do that in the US and then I brought those back to Japan.
God, that's incredible, dude. Do you have behind the scenes of all that? That'd be something great to show people.
Yeah, yeah, I have tons of behind the scenes on like on the Blu-rays that I have on the crowdfunding. So
Right.
I've got just so much. I have like everything because I always had like a Sony 4K camera set off to the side too, kind of recording behind the scenes. So
Right. Cool. Well, I got one comment here. This is from somebody I know. Chassis said, "That's a nice basket case shirt."
oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, that's my significant other. She's Chassis. She's a cinematographer herself. She graduated from
That's
Full
awesome.
Sail. She shot the drain brain short for me, and
I love
she's
that short, man. That's great.
thanks, man. And she's editing our feature. But yeah,
Oh, wow.
thank you so much, man. Let's see. So next up is crowdfunding, and that's something that's kind of new to us filmmakers. You know, that I've seen a lot of people use in the last, like I say, about 10 years, and it's worked out very well. Again, like Damien Leon, he did it for Terrifier 1 and 2, and you did very well. Yours, you made like about 23,000, I think, on it. I
Yeah.
think that's what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I've done actually 6 campaigns so far. Because normally what I do is I do a bunch of like smaller campaigns. So
Mm-hmm.
for my first feature, I did a whole bunch of Kickstarters and Indiegogos, and like, yeah, it was really good. I mean, I kind of like doing smaller ones, but I
Right.
did do kind of a larger Indiegogo recently for Bakemono.
That's great, though. I mean, that just shows you the support. You know, that means people really believed in it. Um, so the thing I talk to a lot of people when it comes to campaigns is when you make the movie, that's a whole thing by itself, right? But then now the crowdfunding aspect of it, that's almost just as much work because you got to promote it. You can't just put it out there and expect people to find it. You got to share that and stuff, just like your movie. So for you, how was that experience? Was it easy to do, or was that something that took a lot of creativity away from your project to focus on that?
Like kind of what I did is I waited until the film was almost done. Like not there's an exclusive crowdfunding only version. So I was still working on that, but the main film was already pretty much done. So I didn't really have to take creativity away from that. And then I'm lucky because I did so much crowdfunding with my first feature. Like that's where I kind of learned a lot, and I spent years doing that and figuring it out. Because after you make a film, you have to you basically have to figure out, okay, how do I make my money back? How do I make a profit on this?
Yeah.
And I mean, crowdfunding, it's a great, amazing thing, and it's an awesome way to connect with your audience. And so I kind of learned that on my first one, and then, but it's changed because that was back in like 2009, I think, when
Yeah, more people are doing it now.
yeah, there's a lot more people, but um, like because of that, there's kind of more advice, there's more like tips out there, like, so yeah.
Awesome. We've done a few. We did a few comic books, some graphic novels,
Yeah,
and
I saw some of those like sultry slashers. That looks awesome,
yeah,
dude.
yeah. Thanks. I'll see some PDFs. I mean, that was a pinup book. We actually did a like actual book before that. We did that would be our third IP. We did the first one we did was a one shot, which was just like a little horror thing. The
Cool.
second one was supposed to be this ongoing dark superhero story, but we got to a point we had to kind of like stop it because I'm saying right now, making a comic book is more expensive than shooting a movie.
Really? Wow.
I'll have to talk to you again. I'll talk to you about that when we're
Yeah,
when
please.
it's us
I'm
two. Yeah,
curious.
it's interesting. But
Wow.
same thing. Like I learned. We learn how to build the following and stuff. So even if we were to try to do one for the movie right now or whatever, I know there's a certain amount we probably could get because people will back it. So, but that came from us learning and doing multiple ones over years and kind of understanding what worked, what doesn't work, how you're supposed to like drop a campaign and stuff. And it's like, I think for like the generation of filmmakers now specifically, it's a lot they got to learn. Like all this stuff is important. Like having a social presence does mean something. It helps. Because people understand where your stuff is at. So the next, and this kind of goes to the next topic, which is distribution, and that seems to be the big one that a lot of filmmakers just don't. I don't think they take enough time with. They're so passionate about getting that movie out. They got to make that movie, and they put everything into that movie. But what they don't realize is once you make the movie, what do you do with it? You can't just sit on it, and people aren't knocking your door to get it. You got to figure out how to sell. How to sell your product. So this being your third film, do you want to tell people a little bit about your experiences with distribution?
Yeah, I don't have as much experience as others, but I've talked to so many filmmakers and I did interviews and stuff like this. And basically, what I did with my first feature is I self-distributed it. And honestly, a big part of that was crowdfunding. Like, crowdfunding is a way to self-distribute your movie.
Right.
And then I also sold it on like eBay and my own website and Amazon. Amazon sucks though; they take too much money.
I
Anyway,
heard, yeah.
but yeah, I did that because no distributor would give me like a minimum guarantee on my first feature. If you're going to do distribution, you have to get money up front. And if you don't get money up front, they're just going to screw you and you're never going to get any money. And
Yes, I've heard.
Yeah, you don't want to do that because you don't give away your movie for free. Like so many filmmakers now, they make that mistake and they give it away for free. And then now movies have no value and distributors know that they can just get it for free. And you don't want to do that. I say, if anything, like, make your movie more scarce or more rare. Like people will want it more. There's a value in scarcity, I think.
No, you're absolutely right. Because the thing about it is, so you got the streaming services, then you got physical media.
Yeah.
Realistically, streaming's not going anywhere. People are going to do streaming, but the physical media, that's your hardcore. That's the true audience. Those are the guys and gals who are going to buy your film, no matter how many variations come out on disc. They're always going to get it if they like it, right?
Yeah,
but the good thing about the one good thing I will say about streaming is that will reach an audience who will never buy it physically. So at least the awareness is there, if that makes sense. So you still have that too. So I think a little bit of both. One thing I thought I've looked into that I've actually was advised to is like rent out a theater. Like I heard it's not much like in the States. Like I've heard stories like you could do it for like $500 a night or whatever, you know what I'm saying? The theater gets their $500. You put the movie in there, sell your tickets for whatever, and just go from there. So I would feel like especially if you're in your hometown, if you got enough of a following, you at least could build a little momentum there. Maybe get a sold out showing, make a couple grand. Then you can use that as publicity to kind of keep on going with it. And then you also can do the distribution of like physical like disc and stuff. That was my thought process.
No, I think you're right. Like Adam Green and Joe Lynch, they talked a lot about that because but basically what they would do is they would do that. They would make it an event and people would come, and then you have a higher ticket price, but they can also it's more of a unique experience. They can also get like a Blu-ray with it, stuff like this. They can sign stuff. So you make it kind of an event, and like they've had a lot of success doing that, especially like the Saw 2 director, Darren Bousman, like he did that with
Repo. Was it Repo Genetic Opera?
Yeah, Repo and the Devil's Carnival, I think was the
main one. That's it. Devil's Carnival. That's right.
Like on the Movie Crypt, I fucking love that show. And
that's a very informative show. Like that episode with him. Did you watch that episode? That was a hard story. Like because he got screwed. He got screwed bad.
Like he's been on there several times, and like every time, like he's just so awesome and honest. And I like if you're an aspiring filmmaker, you should listen to the Movie Crypt. I love that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, they know their stuff, man. But
I would say streaming, because streaming I don't like streaming, as a filmmaker, because it pays nothing. Like Brian Usna even said that like Netflix pays nothing, and of course he would definitely know. But like Terrifier. Part of why I think Terrifier 2 was a huge success. I mean, it's a great film, and Damien Leone's awesome, and of course all that. But part of the reason why I think it was so successful is it got on Netflix. It was able to get on Netflix, and then so many people saw it. So then when he did Terrifier 2, it was already out there.
Absolutely, yeah. Because I was my first introduction to that was All Hallows Eve. I saw All Hallows Eve like way back, when first, I think it was like on Pluto or something. I just saw Art the Clown's face. Well, this is interesting. And I was surprised. I really liked it. And I started following him ever since. And I kept up with everything. And like, it was awesome. Like, I think it took him like 10 years to get from All Hallows Eve to Terrifier 3. It was great. That he should be inspirational to all horror fans. Like, it can work.
Well, and I love it too, because like he's doing like kind of extreme uncut horror, and it actually managed to get into the theaters. Like it's such a huge success story, and he does his own practical effects. Like he's a huge inspiration, man. He's awesome.
It shows how the times have changed, because with that, going back to Adam Green, remember the whole thing with Hatchet 2, how AMC they screwed him, but that was like 2000. What was that? That was like 2010 maybe.
It was a long time ago.
Things changed, man. Like if he had done it now, it'd have been a whole different story. Because Terrifier 2, there was no way they would let him do that back in 2010. But it just showed how things have changed, And so,
I mean, you're right, and you're right that like theaters are kind of desperate now. And I know, like even Kevin Smith was talking about, he actually owns a theater now, and if an indie filmmaker wants to get in touch and show their movie there, they can. Like he showed Terrifier 2 there, and so there's so many opportunities out there now. Like, I mean. As long as the cost is low, and you have like maybe the theater tour event thing is difficult if you don't have like a big following, but you can build up to that.
And advertisement. But I think that's the way a lot of more filmmakers should do that, especially like if it's cheap and if the costs are low and they're just sitting on the film. And you think festivals are expensive. You know, just because you submit to like 8 festivals don't mean you're getting all 8 festivals. And some things are like $100 a piece. So if you do the math, like you could have used that money and just put the movie out. You know, and then if it takes off, the festivals still come after you. They want to show it. You know, I mean, that's the way I look at it. But everybody's story is different, man. I mean, with film, I you know what I realized: one person's success could be another person's failure. So it just depends. You know, everybody's story got their own story. But I think the last thing I will say about the streaming service, I think Tubi is good. I know you still got to go through a distributor to get on Tubi, but at least they are putting stuff out there. You know, I think I've heard that the money it varies. Some people have made a lot of money, some people made no money. It just depends on I think timing and just what the content is. But that there is something there. Like I know like distribution companies like Terra Films, they've had a lot of success with the Hell House LLC franchise. So you know there's you know options out there for filmmakers, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get on Tubi, you can actually do it yourself through a Film Hub, and I think a lot of filmmakers do that, like Jay Horton. And I did hear, because there's a director who made this movie called Droid, and he said that he got like 1 million views on there, but they still didn't recoup their budget, which is kind of crazy because their budget was also very low. So I'm curious like how much exactly did they make? But that is the downside to streaming. Like you get almost nothing. And a distributor told me actually, I was on this call with a distributor for another film that I was just like an associate producer on. And the distributor said that unfortunately, once your film goes on Tubi, like the value of it just kind of plummets because like it's kind of for free. Anybody can see it. So that's something to keep in mind. Like if you want to, but I mean, you know, the trade-off is, well, maybe a lot more people will see it. It just kind of depends on what you want to do.
Well,
you know?
This is my question. I've been trying to, I've done research, could not find an answer. Maybe you can answer this for me. So let's say X movie gets made, I make it, get it put on Tubi. Do they retain the rights to, so can I still like, all right, stream on Tubi, but I still can make my own variation of the Blu-ray and make t-shirts of the characters and all that stuff? Is that, you know, how does,
Yeah, you keep the rights. I mean, yeah, they're like paying for the streaming rights, but it's I think it's non-exclusive. Like you can, but yeah, I would check out like Film Hub. That's the best way because sometimes, honestly, be real careful of distributors because like I know a guy who got a quote unquote distribution deal, but all they did was they just dumped it on Tubi, and it's like, well, dude, he could have done that himself.
Right.
Now he's getting no money. He's getting like double screwed, and but they will do that. You really be so careful with distributors. Like I interviewed this great director, Maurice Devereaux. He did End of the Line and Slashers and Lady of the Lake and Blood Symbol. He's done 4 features up in Canada. Okay. All right. He's great, and he's a great director, and I love his movies. End of the Line played at like the Toronto International Film Festival, and he's talked to so many different directors, and he said that, yeah, as far as distributors, make sure you get a minimum guarantee and make sure they pay you up front. And he said, think of it as a drug deal. Don't give your movie to them until you get paid first. So
that makes sense. I'm glad to hear that.
But it's dangerous, you know, it's crazy.
And I've been trying to research, you know, again, since I'm still like in production on my thing, I've been trying to do as much research as I can on distribution, just so when it's done, you know, we can go into it. Because I mean, I'm not, this year's not going to happen. Like, no, we're planning on releasing it next year. This year's all about finishing the product, growing the following, and getting a concrete distribution deal, or at least a realistic one in place. That's why I'm looking at it. But so again, like, you know, that's something else we can talk about offline. Just, you know, if you have any information, you know, if I find anything, I'll send it your way. But I think that's something very important that a lot of filmmakers need to know. And again, Horton does a good job of his channel talking about distribution, and you know, and I think that's something that should be more brought up in filmmaking.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm always trying to find out more information about it. And I think like also Maurice Devereaux, he also told me never use sales agents because sales agents, they have ways to just screw you out of all the money. Never, ever use a sales agent. So for 100%, like I'll send you the link to his interview. And
awesome. Appreciate that. What about entertainment lawyers? How does that, because that's different, right, than the sales agent?
Yeah, I like whenever lawyers come up, I'm always like, oh, because they're going to cost so much money, you know? Usually. I would never mess with a lawyer. Like, I don't have that much money. I would never mess with that. But yeah, you should always be like crazy careful if you get a distribution contract. But I think this is really important. Do your due diligence, like research other movies that they've distributed. And if they say they distributed this movie, go on IMDb. Has anybody seen it? Does it have any reviews? Did they do anything to promote it? Or did they just literally dump it on a crappy streaming service? And contact the filmmakers, and ask them, how was your experience with this distributor? And also there's a Facebook group called, I think it's called like distributor. It was called distributor before, but it's like protect yourself from predatory distributors. It's a really good Facebook group, and you can search distributors and see the feedback on them. And yeah, most of them are bad.
Yeah, I checked out because there was one, I can't remember the guy's name. I got to look it up. But he was he knows a lot about distribution, and apparently like you said the word predatory distributors, that happens like pretty much like if we make an independent film, right, and we put up on IMDb, like they're just waiting for it, and like you'll get like 5 different like solicitations for like these distribution companies you never heard of before, trying to hurt and buy your film. It's crazy. It's sad, and it's like that now, man.
Well, that's how they make money. Like another thing is, you can tell like if the distributor puts out like 1,000 films, they're in what's called a volume business. They don't give a shit about any of those films. They're just getting so many of them so they can build up a catalog. So eventually they can sell that catalog. So they don't give a shit about your movie or the quality or anything. They're just going to take it, put it in their catalog, rip you off. You'll never see a penny. Your movie's gone. So don't do that. Like if they give you a minimum guarantee, but be careful. I just learned that they can screw you kind of on minimum guarantees because some distributors, they have relationships with post houses. So even if they're going to give you a minimum guarantee, they'll say, oh, well, your film has some problems. It has some quality issues. You need to fix those. And they'll delay paying you. Which I think is why like you should get paid up front before you give them your movie. Because they'll delay paying you and they'll keep saying, oh, you didn't fix the problems. You didn't fix these problems, quote unquote. And then here, why don't you use this post house? We know this post house is good, but it's actually theirs and they're getting that money back that they're going to give you, they have so many tactics like this. So you really got to be careful. And I would just stay away from distributors. I had the director of Moontrap. He actually told me, I think someone he knows works for a distributor, but he told me like the best you can hope for is a distributor that'll stab you in the chest.
Wow, that's woo.
Yeah,
I gotta get a poster that we'll put them on the wall. Yeah, but I also heard like because like you got domestic distribution, you got overseas, and I heard like if you don't ever get both from the same distributor, could fuck you over. Like
yeah, and don't use sales agents because they will fuck you over. And yeah, definitely. Like there are some good distributors. They're just very rare, but everybody says like nice things about Uncorked, I think.
Yeah, I've heard them. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a new. I think they're called Terror Films. They're like a Blu-ray release company.
Yeah,
like
Terror Films. Yeah, they did the Hell House LLC line. They actually they put out like merchandise and stuff. And they have they do a lot of stuff with Shudder. And oh god,
they also do streaming, right?
Yeah. They do stream because they actually stream stuff on YouTube. They got their own on YouTube. Then they work out with Shudder, and it's another company. It's not Screenbox. It's might be Amazon, but they're pretty legit. They use, from what I heard, they take care of people, and that's something to kind of look into. But yeah, Uncorked, Terror Films. I believe
there's another one that it's close to Terror Films, but it's different because Maurice Devereaux, like his film Slashers and In the Line, he released them on Blu-ray through them. I'll look it up after this, but they're a good one. I'm not sure. I don't know about that Terror Films one because it seemed like they have so many titles, and then often they go on Tubi, but I don't know exactly about them, but I would be really careful if they have so many titles,
right?
And most are going to Tubi or something like this. Because seriously, you can do Tubi yourself. Don't do a distributor. Do Film Hub. So yeah,
I'm glad to know that. There's also Welcome Villain. That's a new one that came out because they did. They put out that remake of that indie film. What was it? Malin? What is it called? It's the late.
Malice.
Yeah, the girl, the female cop, this on night shift, and like all the satanic stuff happened. Like, yeah, they
It's a cool movie.
They put that out, and there's another movie they put out. It's like a home invasion, but it's like in a warehouse. They're starting to get a little traction over there. But yeah, I mean, it's like every day, man, like a new one coming out. The Blood Disgusting actually has their own one, but that's a little, Blood Disgusting. So
yeah, I think Screenbox is good. I did hear that they will actually pay for films. So
yeah, and they're fairly new. Because I actually subscribe to both Shudder and Screenbox. It seems like they do a little trade off, like something like whatever Shudder doesn't have, like Screenbox will pick it up for like that cycle. But they actually have like stuff that Shudder never has shown, and vice versa. So it's good to have both. And they're both cheap. They're not. I mean, Screenbox is actually cheaper than Shudder.
Yeah, no, I love the horror services. I love Joe Bob Briggs on Shudder. So
yeah, I watched it last night. It was Rotten Tail. They showed on.
Nice, that's awesome. Yeah. He's the best, man.
Yeah, I want to meet him. Like, I got a friend who met him, and he said he's awesome.
That's so cool.
He doesn't come. I'm in Virginia. He usually doesn't come here. I think the closest he's gotten here, I think he's like New Jersey or like Philly or something. But if he comes again, I'll go see him. He's getting up there, man. He's getting old now.
Yeah, but, I would love to meet him. Like, Darcy's so nice. She's actually an associate producer on my first feature, which is cool.
Oh, nice. That is awesome, dude.
Yeah, it was before she went back on Joe Bob's show. But she's really nice.
Heck yeah, Joe Bob running strong. They went to new platform now, so they're gonna be it was a double feature thing. Now they're gonna do one movie. They're gonna do it's every other week. They do one movie, but it's still awesome. But they're still gonna do like the events. They do one for like Halloween and Thanksgiving and all that. They're gonna do those too, but they're doing more. So
that's great, man.
Yeah, man, I love Joe Bob, man. That's one of that's like the number one reason for me to have Shudder. Plus they're exclusive. Now they have some pretty good exclusives on there. Yeah, but so that takes us to the next question. Since you love 80s horror movie, you love Basket Case, you've made a monster movie with body horror and whatnot. What is your favorite creature you've seen in a movie?
I'd probably have to. It's tough. I would either say Alien or The Thing. So those are like my favorite films, Aliens and The Thing. And then like a lesser known creature. I love Gazoo, The Thing Forsaken by God, Part 1. Let's see, other ones, Brain Damage. There's so many cool. I love Predator, of course.
Yeah.
The first two films, I love those so much. I mean, there's so many cool creatures and monsters out there. Let me think some more. The Suckling. I mean, I like that movie. I love Deadly Spawn. Like I love. There's a movie. What is it? Metamorphosis, The Alien Factor. I love those like no budget monster movies too.
Same here.
Yeah, I love those. I love especially just seeing what people do for like no money. I love that.
Yeah, you get real creative. So you pretty much named all my favorite ones. I'm trying to think, would I add anything else to that? I'm trying to think.
I love like Species, of course.
Species
like
is
H.R. Giger. Yeah,
H.R. Giger, man, he was a beast. I feel like I'm forgetting something. There's a monster. I feel like there's Pumpkinhead. Pumpkinhead's a cool one.
Yeah, I love Pumpkinhead. I love Psycho Goreman, like Steven Psycho man. Yeah, it's awesome.
So I'll be honest. I love Psycho Goreman. The little girl annoyed me. She was kind of hard to get through.
Oh, I get where it's going. Like some people say that, but that wasn't the case for me, man. I loved her, and I think she kind of has to be like a little strong and overbearing to fight Psycho Goreman, so to kind of counterbalance.
Yeah, I mean, I got to go back. I've watched it like twice. I mean, I get where it's going, but I said, because like she was just so. I think my problem was she was just so mean to her brother and everybody. Like that just bugged me. Like I can't relate with this character, man. Like she's just a brat,
man. I think she's so funny. I don't know. I love that. Yeah, it's true. She is. But I think also like deep down, I do think she like loves her brother and she's actually good. So.
Yeah. And what about the poor kid who got turned that brain slug thing? He just got stuck that way. Like,
yeah, I love that, man. My wife, she would agree with you maybe and say that, the little girl's too much. And she also said the same thing about the brain boy. But I don't know, man. I love that movie so much.
That's great though. They got to, man. But he's been kicking ass, man. I mean, I was a big fan of the boy. Yeah, that ended, dude. How he made it. He literally took the ending of Prince of Darkness and put it with Beyond and made it work.
Yeah.
All right, this guy knows his stuff. But yeah, he's great with effects. Like I miss Astron 6 though, man. I wish they would come back together because now I liked it Father's Day and the editor was cool. You know what I'm saying? Like I still want a BioCop movie. I know he was in Psycho Gore, man, but I still want that damn BioCop movie. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that would be awesome, dude. No, I mean, I love what he's doing. I can't wait for his new stuff. And like for me, yeah, he's one of the most exciting filmmakers. You know, him and Damien Leone. So
heck yeah! I tell you what else, I loved Hobo with a Shotgun.
Yeah, that was was and he's short. He made great shorts too. Like
Tree Bench.
Dive. Yeah.
The Tree Bench, like
Tree Bench.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Kids vs. Aliens was okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I mean, we get a chance to watch. It's definitely it's the it's the 80s vibe and everything. But that damn Hobo with a Shotgun is hit right. It breaks my heart that Rutger Hauer's no longer with us. I would have liked to have seen what a sequel would have been. But did you hear how cause this is like way back when it first came out? He was at one time gonna do a spinoff with the what's the bounty hunter things. I forgot what they were called.
Okay, yeah.
He was gonna. It was gonna be like so. What it was gonna be like. It was from the paramedics' point of view, where they had to rush somebody to the hospital that they were after, so they were chasing. I was like, man, he still could make this, man. Make that movie, man.
Yeah, dude, he should do it, man. I mean, yeah, it sucks that we lost Rutger Hauer. Like I loved him, and I love like this is kind of a lesser talked about movie, but I love like Split Second, even though it's like it's flawed, but I love that movie. I don't know, I love it. And the monster is so weird in that movie. Like it shoots guns and nail parts.
Yeah, because like it was shooting guns. Like it went from like being this savage like just animal to being like with intelligence, and and then like the breathing noise it made. It was interesting. It was a very interesting creature. Like. Yeah, I would put him up there, like that whatever it was. Cause I mean, I think the director said it could. I think he said it was a demon, right? Wasn't that what it's supposed to be? Some kind of demon or some shit.
I think originally the problem is the script was supposed to be a human killer, but it was too similar to this other movie, so they kind of changed it last minute, and that's why like so many things in it kind of don't quite add up or make sense. But I love it, and I think it kind of makes it more interesting, like. Because there's some kind of demonic ritual. I mean, in the movie, they say at the end, they just kind of sum it up and say, "Oh, he's Satan." But that's kind of like I think that's a cop out. That's not that interesting. But
I mean, because like you create like it's a world. Like, okay, what else is in this world? We got stuff like that. What else? Say all these possibilities. But yeah, that you're right. That was definitely a cool one. You didn't hear a lot about. Oh, I got a good one. The Hidden. The Hidden is one of the best underrated films I've ever seen. And I wish more people would talk about The Hidden. Everything about it. Come on, alien slug that likes heavy metal music and likes to eat Bob Banks.
No, it's a good movie. I like it too. I like. I like Critters. I love Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh heck yeah!
I mean, there's so many good monsters. I love watching monster movies. I mean, there's like Spawn of Slithus. I mean, that's not very good, but
dude, no. Terror Vision is my shit.
Oh, okay, awesome, yeah.
I love Terror Vision.
I love that too. I mean, Charles Band, like he did a lot of like low budget monster movies, So.
Oh yeah. He's. I mean, I respect him in his own right. You know what I'm saying? Like he definitely stayed in the quirky stuff. But it was cool though. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I like that. I mean, it's 80s, man. It was just that 80s aesthetic.
I mean, his company like helped Stuart Gordon. I mean, they ripped off Brian Usna, but they put out like From Beyond and Reanimator. And I love Stuart Gordon's movies. So.
Oh heck yeah! Brian Usna. Oh, speaking of Stuart Gordon, like the one that a lot of people don't talk about, which I think was aside from Reanimator, was Dagon. I thought Dagon was probably one.
Yeah, I love Dagon.
Dagon was good. Awesome. Yeah, everything about that movie, man. The bleak. I think that movie, out of everything he's done, captured the bleakness of a Lovecraft story better than anything else. Even with Reanimator was fun. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of fun. It's kind of lighthearted, I guess you could say. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of wacky. Yeah. But Dagon was just straight up bleak, man. Like nothing about that.
The ending. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, nobody won. Like, what I mean?
Get your face skinned off. I love that movie.
Oh yeah, man. I felt bad for that guy, man. He was like, I felt bad for him. But yeah, like the wife or the girlfriend, she gets like eaten by Dagon, and yeah, that was a wild movie. Wild movie.
No, that movie's awesome. Yeah, I really love Stuart Gordon, man. I'm sad he's passed too. That's
awesome. Man. Like especially now. But on that, so what did you think of that Castle Freak remake?
Yeah, I wasn't so big on it, man. You know, I love the original, and I think like
Right.
Stuart Gordon's writing is really good, and his direction is really good, and yeah, the remake, you know, it didn't work for me.
Yeah, I mean, so this is my thing with the remake. The effects were great, very good effects. It was too long for what it was. It was way too long. That you could have cut a good 30 to 40 minutes that could have been cut out. And I thought it was too ambitious. Like it was too much. The concept was too much. Like, okay, we got they want to make like the shared universe and all that, but
Yeah,
I don't think it worked for that. You
no, I
know,
mean, they're trying to like run before they walk, you know?
yeah, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, it was like again, there was some cool parts in it, but no, compared to the original, nah. I mean, the original will always be one of the best, you know what I'm saying? That again, that's one of his best ones. In his top 5 films, I'll put Castle Freak up there. Brian Usna, I still like Society. I love
Yeah, I love
Society.
Society. I love Society, and what else? I mean, I like Bride of Reanimator, but yeah, Society is my favorite of his.
Yeah, you can't because like how do you my thing is like looking at it now, I'm like, all right, how do you pitch this to somebody? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd like to know how that meeting went. Like, okay, I want to make a movie about the rich, but they're really monsters who fuse together in orgies and eat what?
Yeah, yeah. It's awesome. No, that movie is amazing. And I also like Return of the Living Dead 3. Like Brian
I do
Usman's great,
too.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you know, I was hold on, I got a chance. I want to say something. Let me see. Speaking of the movie crib and Adam Green, I love the monsters and Dig Up the Marrow was a good one.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably yeah. Like again, something a lot of people don't. I think that's one of those movies where it's going to get discovered later on. You know, some movies are like that. They find their life cycle later on down the line.
Yeah. I mean, there's a Japanese film that's similar to that too. Maribito, which is also Takashi Shimizu, who directed Ju-on. Like that's a
Yeah,
cool movie.
I've not seen that one. I got to put that on my list.
Yeah, the
Um,
story's a little similar to Digging Up the Marrow. I mean, Digging Up the Marrow is great. I love it, and the monsters are so freaking cool in that.
yeah, it was especially like I don't know. Anytime you like, I got this thing. A creature that disguises itself as something more happy and vibrant. Like we had that contrast between like just utterly grotesque and colorful. Like something about that just works for me. And that
That's
movie had a
cool.
lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's very unique. And again, like it's another film. A lot of people don't talk. I'm surprised that movie doesn't get brought up more in the horror community than it does.
Yeah,
Um,
it's true.
so we talked about your favorite creatures, favorite special effect.
It's got to be, you know, the same transformation. Maybe
Yeah,
Norris, of course, Spiderhead. You know, I
yeah.
mean,
The thing has to be that. I always go between the thing and American Werewolf in London transformation. Those two
yeah,
are probably, you know, again, like I mean, you got two geniuses doing those things. Like I mean, I think he was. I think with American Werewolf in London, wasn't that the first time we saw it actually look painful to transform to a wolf? Wasn't he the first to do that?
yeah. I think, and of course, it's in broad daylight. I mean, it's in bright light. It's not
Yeah.
broad.
Nothing's hidden. Like they show you everything, which is very ballsy. You
Yeah, yeah.
know?
I would never freaking do that, man. I would never freaking. I don't have the money or the budget, but I would still like.
Right.
And I think Rick Baker won an Academy Award for that,
Oh,
right?
I think so. But again, when you look at it now, what made it work was the cuts. Like he knew again, he knew how to hold on just long enough to see what you guys boom, boom, boom. So your brain, you were seeing more than you thought you were seeing. I think with that, even with
Yeah,
the brilliant thing about the thing, what I like about that, what was cool is all right. Some of the blood test sequence.
yeah, of course.
I was explaining to Chaz this. All right, I want you to pay attention to something. So when he gets outed and he's the thing, he starts transforming, right? If you look at the cuts, every time they cut back to it, he's went through like 4 different transformations without you realizing it. You
Yeah,
know, he kind of goes from convulsion to the next thing. He's like literally face melted. But your brain and you hearing the sounds off camera and the cuts, you it puts it. You know, you fill in the blanks, which I thought that
yeah.
was brilliant. You know, and that's part of what makes the effect work. You know,
And that's also it's kind of like a low budget approach actually, because you're not showing it on the screen. You know, you're showing it like it's kind of happening between the cuts. It's kind of happening
right.
more in your imagination. So like that's something we can do also as independent filmmakers, you know?
Yeah, I mean, again, to this day, I still analyze the thing. Like, if I have a crazy effect in my head, okay, let me go back and watch this movie, see what they did. But every effect in that movie worked, man. There was not one effect I said, that could have been better. Like, no. I mean, that was
Yeah. I mean, even like really simple stuff, because like the one you see oh, what's his name now? But you see the one guy with the tentacles wrapped around him, and he's kind of like purple.
Yeah,
And basically they didn't have anything for that, and they're like, hey, can you just ship over some tentacles? And they made it look. I mean, it looks amazing. It's a short, brief shot, but it's like perfect.
Right. And the movie again, lighting and sound. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But that damn dog scene, dude, like that. You're doing a scene with effects in live animals like that. That's a lot going on.
Yeah, that's difficult. Don't work with animals, and then you're working with effects and animals.
Yeah,
I mean,
but they made it work. You know, I mean, it's like in Rob Bottin, you gotta think, man, like there was no blueprint. This was stuff like he had to come up on the fly. Like Carpenter went, all right, I want a guy's head to split open and tentacles wrap around the guy's head. Gotcha. You know, so I'm like, what? Like,
and yeah, and really, but you know, Bottin, he came up with that concept. Like he pitched that to Carpenter, and Carpenter was like, oh yeah, that's genius. Like it can look like anything. And he was like, you know, he had Bottin sit down with the storyboard artist and work it all out. Like,
yeah, it's incredible, man. We really, this is 19. I mean, I'm pretty sure they probably started shooting like what, probably 79 or something, right? Because the thing came out 81, didn't it?
I mean, I think they wouldn't have started shooting that long ago. Like it was later. It was definitely in the 80s when they were shooting.
80? Okay, yeah. But it's like,
but you know, they had one thing that gave them a huge advantage that they don't do anymore, that they were talking about in the documentary and stuff, is they had a long pre-production. They don't have long pre-productions anymore. Like I think Alec Gillis and Tom Woodruff Jr. were talking about this. And it's like back in the days of The Thing, they had like a long pre-production so they could prepare. And they also had like a break in the shooting. There's a really good blog called, have you ever read this? It's called The Original Fan, and it's written by one of the producers of The Thing.
No, I've not.
And, oh, it's awesome. I'll send you a link. It's like, it's the best, because there's an article, there's one blog post that says when The Thing became John Carpenter's The Thing, and it goes through the production, and they had problems actually. Like the movie, it almost wasn't that great, but Carpenter realized there were problems and he solved them. And like, because there was too much time in between transformations, there was humor that didn't work. There was like pacing issues, and he was really intelligent, and he fixed all those problems. So,
you know, it's a shame. It's a shame that movie failed when it first came out. You know, it baffles me that movie, but I mean, E.T. was out. So. But now
that sucks, though. I mean, like Carpenter, can you imagine? Like you make a movie, like now everybody says The Thing is like the best horror movie ever made.
Yeah.
And he's like, but that doesn't help me now. And it's like, yeah, of course we would all be like jaded and pissed. I mean, like the New York Times, they said it was like, people said he was like pornographic, like a violence pornographer.
Isn't that insane? And like, didn't that ruin his career for a while? Like the failure to think, like Universal like dropped him because didn't he like a 3-picture deal with him because the thing did so badly. They said, nah, we're done.
Is that what happened? Wow.
I think so. I think that's what happened, but
it's total bullshit because now it's just like people recognize now that it's the amazing film it is. But I guess at the time, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with people. It shocked them too much.
Yeah. But Carpenter, everything he did was like that, man. You know what I'm saying? I know people have met him now. And he's kind of is that bitter old guy, but I mean, he has a right to be bitter. I mean, everything we see now, almost every horror film we see now, even genre films, are Carpenter-esque. Music, especially. Like we all do the simp shit now. I mean, he made that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like every killer, every unstoppable killer is Michael Myers, pretty much.
Yeah, it's true, man. Know? I mean, he's a fucking genius. You know, he kind of set the mold and changed the game in so many different ways.
It's a shame. It's so sad that he still can make movies now. You know, I don't think he wants to make movies anymore. I think he just wants to get paid. But you know, yeah, I mean, it's just crazy, man. Like all those films, you know, I mean, Prince of Darkness was another kick-ass movie. You know, nobody went to watch
I love that movie, man.
Yeah, They Live. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I like the vampires. A lot of people, I thought vampires
were dope.
Vampires,
man. It's amazing. James Woods.
Yeah, it was awesome. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, man, like, you know, but his legacy will always live on. The modern horror film, in my opinion, is Carpenter. Like he paved the way for all the shit we do now. I mean, that's just the way I look at it.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I think unfortunately, it's kind of a grim outlook for us filmmakers because like Carpenter's unhappy. And like, if you listen to like Frank Darabont, you know, he did Shawshank Redemption, which is like people consider that like the best drama ever made, and like
Right.
he's unhappy. And he also did The Mist, but he's like, if you hear him talk about Shawshank, he still sounds unhappy about it. He was on a show, you know, with Mick Garris, and
Oh
he
man,
sounds
it's a shame.
unhappy, and it just sucks, man. And he was trying to get a new movie made, but the studio just didn't give a shit, and it's just like,
Yeah,
fuck.
just like when took Walking Dead from him. I mean, it's like,
Yeah, that is so messed up, man.
dude, you gotta think about it. Him and Chuck Russell gave us two of the greatest horror movies of all time. They gave us Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and they gave us The Blob back to
Yeah,
back. Those movies are flawless. You know,
yeah,
like what they could have done if they hadn't let them keep on making stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, it just
yeah,
blows my mind. You
yeah.
know,
It sucks, man. Like that's why, like, I think it's good for us to be indie, especially now, because like
yeah.
Damien Leone, like he proved, man, if you do like really, really, really amazing, I think you can get it in theaters, you know? Like, and there's a hunger for practical effects. I mean, horror
Oh
fans
yeah,
like
yeah.
us, like, I just want to see practical effects, man. I'm so sick of CGI. I don't give a shit.
Same
It
here.
doesn't work.
It takes you out of it. I mean, they do CG for shit that doesn't need CG now. Like
Yeah.
I've seen ghost movies where people are possessed with CG. What? Like, you know, I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, what is this? I mean, there is a place for. There are certain things that you need CG for. Okay, you want to show a whole
Yeah.
planet get decimated. All right, you might need a little
Yeah.
CG for that. But
Space
any
films.
transformation stuff, that's another problem I've seen with a lot of CG monsters. They all look the same. They're all gray. You ever notice that? They're all these big gray looking things.
Yeah, and they always like they have this certain motion, like when they roar, where like every part of them like shakes, and it's like, oh man, what is this? They always do the same kind of crap, and I'm just like,
Yeah, even they're big. Even they're two things. They're big, hulky, bulky things, or they're these real slender things with like this big upper torso, these little legs. You know, it's like what? Why? I don't know. This is weird. You
yeah,
know,
I hate
but
that. I mean, I love like again like the first Jurassic Park and like Starship Troopers, like they're the perfect blend of practical and CGI, but the CGI is really limited actually. Like it's just the stuff that you really can't do with practical, and the practical really makes the CGI so much more believable, and it's limited, you know.
I agree. You know, and it seemed like I have a theory. There was two things that happened and made the CG take over. I believe George Lucas prequels hurt us a lot with the Star Wars prequel, and I also believe Mummy 2. Remember Mummy 2? Like when they had the big army sequence of all those damn CG, whatever they were. That was like
Yeah.
the first time I really saw it. And that like The Rock when he was like the CG Scorpion King and that thing.
Oh, that was the worst. Yeah.
Yeah, I think though that's what we started seeing like the decline in practical effects.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. It doesn't make any sense, you know. It's like
Well, it's
we need
cheaper.
to. Yeah, practical is cheaper actually. Like Alec Gillis and Tom Woodruff Jr. They've done comparisons, and practical is cheaper, and it's better. You
Yeah,
know.
like the Wolfman was pretty cool. Benicio del Toro when he's the wolf but that was Rick Baker though. So
Yeah, I mean, I like Rick Baker's work on that, but there's quite a bit of CG, and that film had like so many problems, you know.
yeah, I think that was because what Joe Johnson did he direct that? Was that his movie?
Yeah, I think so.
I think he got compromised in that. I really think that was one of those the studio kind of nah, you're not doing this. You know, you're doing
Yeah,
this.
I mean, it's like the thing prequel, which
Oof.
you know that the studio, like the director actually wanted the practical. They did the practical, and then the studio painted over it with CGI for tax incentives. That's what Alec Gillis and Tom Woodruff Jr. said, and it's like it's just insane, man.
That's sad. Yeah, it's crazy because like my thing is if you're gonna do I mean, this is like Star Wars, the thing. If you're gonna do a prequel, right, to an established film that everybody loves, everybody says the visuals hold up. Even if you're gonna use modern technology, you still need to try to recreate that film aesthetic. So when you watch these things back to back, it flows. That's always my argument. As long as it flows, it doesn't matter. But if the prequel looks more up to date than the original, I mean, come on, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah, it sucks. Like, I'm glad that at least it seems like us independent filmmakers, we really love practical, you know. So
Yeah, and I think what I'm hoping is, again, like Damien Leone, he's pretty much paving the way for us. Is if we're doing it now, and if they give us more of a chance to do bigger films and let us bring that in, maybe we will start seeing more of that in the bigger films. You know, I mean, Hollywood right now, they're kind of struggling, man. Like after the whole superhero thing's kind of died out, you know, you see like Barbie's the biggest movie right now, you know, so they're needing a new thing, which is I tell people all the time, so y'all got like every genre, like that superhero stuff, it's not fatigue. People get tired of stuff. Everything goes to cycles. It's been 10 years. I mean,
yeah,
you know, it's time for something new. And horror you know, it's not horror's always been the ugly stepchild. Every time Hollywood needs money, let's make a horror movie. And that's what they did. That's what they did. I mean,
Yeah, it's sad that like horror doesn't get more respect. It really should. Although I think it's a lot better now. I mean, because yeah, Carpenter in 1982, you know, they said he's a pornographer of violence, and now it's like Damien Leone. Nobody's saying that, you know, like he's fine, and
isn't
he
that
made a movie
crazy?
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's way more gore than the thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's things I would never. I actually went to see it opening night. And that was like one of the most. I had such a fun time watching that in theater.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause you know, in my 4 years of existence, I never seen a film like that in the big screen before. You know what I'm saying? So it was like being a little kid again. So that's awesome, man. But
Yeah, man.
last thing is, so what's next?
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna do a lot more practical effects monster movies here in Japan. So
Awesome.
I'm writing the next one, and I'm writing two different scripts, and I'm not quite sure which one I want to do first. But yeah, but it's also, you know, kind of more like Bakemono, obviously. So all practical effects, and I kind of want to go into kind of like a different kind of territory, like a little Clive Barker, but I kind of like, yeah, I kind of like, I don't know, I'm kind of interested in like erotic horror, like Stuart Gordon, like he kind of like, if you look
Right.
at From Beyond, you know, it has erotic elements, and Frank Henenlotter, and I think like we could do a lot more with that. And there hasn't been like really, there's, you know, there's some films that
No, I
have
agree. Yeah.
a little bit, but there's not that much erotic horror. And so I kind of want to push the boundaries there. You know, I'm always trying to think of like, you know, nowadays I think it's harder to push boundaries and shock people. And because you also like Gaspar Noé, and I like him. And of course I like Damien Leone. I like filmmakers that kind of push the boundaries,
Oh
you know?
yeah. I mean,
So
that's the only way we get anything new, man. You got to take you got to take a risk. I mean, I tell you, if you're scared, you're gonna make something nobody's gonna like. I mean, don't make movies because I mean, there's no point
yeah,
in making a carbon copy of something that's already been out. In my
yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, I mean, with my movie, I say it's like The Thing, but actually, it's just inspired by it. It's
Right.
very completely different. Like it's out of order chronologically, and the story it's not about paranoia or anything. It's a dark side of Tokyo. It's not copying people, so it's very different. But it just has a transforming monster. But yeah, I think we've got to take risk, and I think the key thing is, as indie filmmakers, we can do what Hollywood can't do. Like they would have never done Terrifier 2. Now they
No,
might try to
God,
copy
no.
it, but they would have never done that. So we can do like I don't know, I'm a little nuts. I kind of like extreme horror. Like The Sadness, I would say, is extreme horror. I like Martyrs. I do like a Serbian film. And I would kind of like to do like extreme horror. Like Bakemono's a little bit extreme. Some scenes, especially one scene. So yeah, I really like that because I think like it's very basic, but I feel like horror should be horrifying. Like
Yeah.
when you watch like, I mean, horror can be many different things. There's space to do whatever the heck you want. You can make a fun, you know, I love Psycho Goreman, but yeah, I want to do like kind of extreme like horror, but
That'd be cool.
monster movie.
Have you? So again, this might be in the movie now, but have you thought about doing more like a live action hentai? No, I'm serious. Like, you know, but with a story, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, because
Yeah.
I thought the first Overfiend actually had a pretty decent plot. You know, it just
Oh
yeah,
my God, you're speaking my language. You got to stop this. No, yeah, I love Overfiend actually, and I love Urotsuki Doji, and
yeah,
I mean, that's the same thing. I love Wicked City, but I love all
yeah.
that stuff. And yeah, actually, I love that movie, and I think like that movie escalates. I really feel like that's an extreme monster movie, but it's anime. So I want to do, yeah, that's kind of the inspiration for my next one. I want to do, yeah, something like
I
that.
think, dude, you should because like I think now's the time because anime is interesting. Like, it's really took it,
Yeah.
like, especially with the young people, like they're into the more obscure anime. Like I've seen people wear hentai shirts, girls and guys. Like it's like what? Really?
Awesome.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
So like
awesome.
I think we're ready for that. You know, especially if it's got like a really good story and like, you know,
Yeah.
practical effects. Like you got to find people willing to be in it. But
Yeah. No, you have to. Yeah, I think like you have to have a good story, and like, you know, Urotsuki Doji Overfiend, like it really, the story is kind of cool, and it takes twists that you don't expect. Like it's kind
right,
of smarter than you would expect, and there's they're very cool monsters in that. If you look at the original manga by Toshio Maeda,
Yeah, it was a little more lighthearted. It wasn't nearly as visceral as the anime, right?
Well, it's like the monsters are completely different. The director of that really changed it, and he also made it so it's like it becomes apocalyptic, with the Tokyo freaking on fire at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And so then Maeda Toshio actually changed his manga and stuff. Like but it's really interesting if you compare them. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean that. What's that one he did? Demon Beast Invasion, La Blue Girl. Like, there's some wild shit out there.
Oh yeah,
so,
yeah.
I've seen my share of these things. So.
yeah. We're going in that territory. Yeah, it's true, and that is kind of an influence on me. Like in Bakemono, there's some nudity, and in the exclusive crowdfunding only cut, there's more nudity. And I even did like an extreme version that I don't know if it'll ever see the light of day, but yeah. So my next movie, I really want to push the boundaries, and I would like to do something inspired by that and Wicked City. Like I love those so much.
Dude, like I said, the Sadness and Terrifier have shown us people are ready for more extreme cinema. You're gonna have your naysayers. Oh, he's just been an edgelord and all that silly shit. But real horror fans, like I know a lot of horror fans, they want some dark stuff. I've
seen probably. I mean, you're the same way. We've seen so much that unfortunately we kind of need something extreme to like.
Yeah.
The shock us.
My fiance, she kind of taps out. She's not certain things she ain't watching. Like Serbian film, doesn't know way hell she's watching that. Even Martyrs.
Yeah, I like too.
Yeah, like Martyrs is too much for her. She wouldn't know what I'm saying. Like that's I mean, Issue to Kill.
Yeah.
She would never watch that stuff, But
I mean, I showed my wife Terrifier, the first one, but I don't think she could really handle Martyrs probably. I mean, but I did show her Midnight Meat Train, but it's not that extreme.
No.
I would love to show her like Martyrs in a Serbian film, but they're too much probably.
Yeah, so even for me, I mean, like I said, no, I'm a family guy and stuff. So even I got a little cinema. My two things is I can pretty much deal with all horror. I'm not crazy about. I don't really want to see animal abuse and kid abuse in movies. That's the only two things I really kind of like. I can do hardcore horror all day long, but those are the two I kind of stay away from. Just because I just want to. I mean, we can do horrible stuff without going there. I don't know.
I really don't like the when they kill animals for real, and I don't like that. And like you said, leave the kids alone. I mean, if you kill them like John Carpenter did in Assault on Precinct 13, that's fine.
That's different though. But you see the Serbian film. Serbian film was
that's too much.
That was a bit much. I mean, I've seen it. I had to see it, but when I saw it, I was like, wow. Even that was it for me. Like, wow, I've seen it all now. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I thought Silo was bad, but no, Serbian film blew that one away. But
I mean, at the same time, I do respect it for going there and pushing boundaries.
Yeah.
So, but for me personally, I draw the line there. I'm the same as you. So
I do want to see the documentary though. They're supposed to make.
I know. I want to see that. When is that coming out, man? I really want to see that.
It's been like 2 years. Like his other movie, he's supposed to be making that Western metaphysical movie thing that never came out. Where was it called? Where something? I forgot what it's called, but. I don't know what he's doing. Like the last thing he did was the ABC's of Death segment with the film Flesh thing, and that was it. I mean,
because there's supposed to be that making of documentary, and it's like, man, I really
it's done. I mean, it's finished. They showed the trailer for the damn thing like about a year. It's on YouTube like a year ago. I don't know what's going on with it. I don't know.
They gotta release that, man. Yeah,
I am curious to see that. You know what I'm saying? Just to see what the cast think, and just I don't know. I will watch that to see what they got to say about it. But
supposedly that killed their careers, which is really interesting. It's like, man, that sucks because that movie's so infamous and everybody knows it. And the Human Centipede director, he went on, he did more. The Martyrs director did more, although not as extreme, but
But he got the Martyrs guy, because he did that incident at the Ghost House. Remember, the girl actually got her face disfigured on set, so that kind of ruined his career, I think.
Yeah, that really sucks, man. That's a shame.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened, like why that would happen, but that's it with him.
That's awful. You got to make sure your actors don't get hurt, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, we all want to make films. Yeah, I don't. There's no excuse for that. Once your actors get hurt on set, I blame the director for that because they need to do a better job of protecting the people because these people trust you and
Yeah, I don't know what happened in that situation, but Yeah, you got to make sure safety is the #1 priority, and nobody gets hurt, especially like your face gets disfigured.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's bad. I mean, that's like, what do you like? What the fuck, you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
your life's ruined. I don't know. That's really bad. Not ruined, but yeah.
But well, we almost went an hour and a half on this thing, man. This is a good good video right here. We got to do more of these. You know,
Heck yeah, man, that'd be awesome.
Bring back on and stuff. We just shoot the shit. I mean, I could talk about film all day, man.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm glad we're like into the same stuff. That's awesome.
Heck yeah, I'm all about that stuff, man. I mean, and there's like we'll talk more about. I'm not that extreme with stuff yet. There's a couple of things I want to do to kind of it hints at certain things, but I'm more like right now more like the Evil Dead 2. I want to make like funny horror, you know, over the top.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, you know,
I love that too. So
you know, and this is you know, especially you know with the people, my crew and stuff. It's easy to kind of convince them to do this. No, I don't want. If I start doing really dark stuff, I need to have more of a name. That was that point. You know, who's this weirdo? Want to do what? Like, you know how it is.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, you don't want to start with that probably.
No, but horror's but as far as horror now, we're in an interesting period for horror because again, like Terrifier, like last year was hot for horror, like you know, with Terrifier 2, and we had like just what else, Barbarian, and you know, there's a
Talk to Me was good. I like Talk to Me.
Yeah, you know, this year. I'm trying to what came out this year that I've watched. I did not watch Imaginary yet. I don't know if I think I might wait for streaming for that one. There's something else there's a few things I gotta look. I don't know. But I think the big what's the big one for this year? This is like Terrifier 3. Terrifier 3 comes out.
Terrifier 3, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
can't wait for that.
Yeah, I think last time I followed them on his Instagram, they were halfway through production. So it's supposed to drop October, the end of October. So they gotta hustle. They want to get this thing out.
Yeah, that would I don't know, man. That'd be hard, you know. Like if you have a success like that, I think that'd be hard to follow that up, you know.
Well, what's interesting about it is because this is the first one that's not been crowdfunded. Like he actually has a studio to put some money behind this, and he shot. I think, as far as the camera, he actually shot this on an Airy, I think.
Oh, wow.
I think, or it's either that or like a Panavision. It might be a Panavision camera, but it's a legit like cinematic camera this time around versus the other ones he did. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it looks with a studio touch to it, you know. But he said he's not gonna compromise. It's gonna be Terrifier. Like there's no cutting away from anything. I think he's gonna try to push. I think he got a little bit of flack for Terrifier 2 because I think people felt that it wasn't as it was violent, but it wasn't. I don't know, you know. The Saw scene in the first one was the one everybody still talks about. You know,
that was a great kill, man.
Yeah, that was brutal. That was a brutal one. Yeah. The second one when he tore the girl apart, I liked it. It was a little more animated. It wasn't as mean spirited, if that makes sense, as the hacksaw scene.
I mean, I loved it. I loved it too. You know, like it's different. But yeah, the hacksaw scene, and it has nudity, and it's just crazy. I mean,
that, and it's like Art the Clown was just more. I don't know. He felt more sadistic in the first, like more disconnected with us. You know, and I know like because he had the black contacts in the first one, and the second one he didn't. So maybe that has something to do. Maybe his eyes. Okay. Maybe that's what I was saying. But no, I mean, I like both of them a lot. You know, I like the lore. Yeah. I like the Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Thing with like, you know, now you got this metaphysical final girl with this metaphysical killer.
Yeah, dude.
Like, you know, that's all cool. I mean, that we haven't seen that in years. Now we've seen a lot of slash movies. Nobody's done the supernatural thing like that in a long time. So that was cool.
Yeah, it's freaking amazing, man. I can't wait. I love the final girl. You know, she's awesome.
Yeah, man. You know, so we haven't had one. I mean, I still she's up there. I put up there Nancy and you know, Laurie Strode and the rest of them.
Oh yeah,
you know, she's definitely you know, kicks ass. It's gonna be interesting. I want to see how Art gets his body back after having that giving birth. Yeah, that's me interested to see how that plays out. Apparently, that's the one thing I do know that I read. It takes Terrifier 3 picks up exactly where that leaves off. So,
oh really? Wow.
Yeah, that's what he said. So we'll that's me interesting. You know,
that's awesome, dude.
Heck yeah, man. But oh boy, I want to keep it. Like I said, we could do this all night, and it was awesome. I actually on the YouTube page, I put all your links down except your Twitter. I forgot your Twitter. I forgot your IMDb, but I did put the link to your Indiegogo campaign. People still can like back that, right? Like,
yeah, it's in demand, so they can still back it.
Okay, yeah, I put that up there. I put your Facebook, your Instagram page, and I put a link to your YouTube channel as well, so they can check out the trailers and stuff for you.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I'll send you a link to that blog about the thing. It's called The Original Fan. It's so freaking awesome.
Heck yeah, man! I'll let her read that. But stay here, cause I got to talk to you real quick before I let you go. But cool. Everybody who's watched this or will watch this, thank you for checking us out. Again. Say it again. God.
Bakemono.
Bakemono. I'm gonna get it right eventually.
No, don't worry about it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No. Follow. If you like body horror, like practical effects monsters, I think this is the move for you. So follow his social medias. So when it drops officially, you can grab it, or just go to this Indiegogo page and back that. But all right, guys. See you later. All right, and